Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to another video, and this is a paid request for Bronson. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, whether it be a re-review or just regular review, topic, tier list, ranking, video game playthrough for an hour, full playthrough, or commentary, whatever the case may be, feel free to do so. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. And for those who sent them, thank you. I really do appreciate it. But this is for Big Daddy from 1999, which this is a time when Adam Sandler was really stepping up to the plate, especially in terms of box office, because you had films like Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, which did pretty good for their low budgets. Then you had films like The Waterboy, which made a big splash. You had The Wedding Singer, which did fairly well. And then this film was a huge hit. Now you gotta think, 1999, this is the year of The Blair Witch Project, and The Sixth Sense, and Fight Club, and The Matrix, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. A lot of big movies. So you have this comedy that cost, I don't know, $30 million, and it made over $160 million in the US alone. So Adam Sandler was becoming a big bona fide comedy star. And that would last a few years with films like Anger Management, among other films being hits. Nowadays, he does a lot for Netflix. If it's comedy, more than likely will suck. Because I cannot even think of the last good comedy he did. Drama is different. Drama, at least, Spaceman was interesting. Uncut Gems was really good. But he can't make a good comedy to save his life nowadays. I think what it is, when you see Adam Sandler in a comedy now, there's a big lack of energy on his part. He's kind of playing a version of himself, but it's kind of like, hey, how's it going? And just saying the lines without much fervor, without much kinetic spunk. If you watch these early films, for me personally, the funniest bits is when he would get in these bits of anger. Yelling, screaming, and it's his delivery of these lines that made it work. Again, I can only speak for myself. Happy Gilmore is my favorite because he has a lot of those spurts of anger that just comes off as genuine, but also funny. Same with this. Like, the funniest parts is when he's trying to be very calm, and it's just this rising volcano, and I think that's why Punch Drunk Love actually worked well, because I think the director of that, Paul Anderson, not the one who did AVP and Resident Evil, the other Paul Anderson, he kind of saw that that was a common thing. And I think he was a fan of Big Daddy. Don't quote me on that. It might have been another guy. But yeah, I think he saw that with what Adam Sandler played his characters and used that in a different way. And Punch Drunk Love was actually, I thought, pretty good for a dramatic role for Adam. But yeah, this, when I was in school, people at school never talked movies. I would try to converse with them, and they just weren't having it. The only films they knew about was either maybe Chris Farley or Adam Sandler. So they knew about Big Daddy, or they knew about The Waterboy, or films of that nature. And if it wasn't Adam Sandler, then they didn't talk movies at all. But I mean, he worked for what needed to be done, and this still was a fun movie to watch. Still was entertaining, went by very quick, the cast worked well. The plot is pretty simple. Adam Sandler plays a guy who, was it years ago? He died in this accident where his foot was run over. He got $200,000, so he can live in this place where he works a toll booth 1 day a week. And the whole idea is that he's very lazy. He sleeps in all day. His girlfriend, Christy Swanson, from the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer, she wants more and eventually leaves him. His buddy, played by Jon Stewart, is getting married. And well, not getting married, but having a a party thrown for him. That's what I meant to say. A party thrown for him. I think proposing as well. I don't know why these little details I fucking forget, even though I just watched the film, but I think my brain is going through seizures on its own, forgetting these little details. Anyway, there's a party, and he gotta leave for this meeting. Some people kind of go, hey, Adam Sandler, it seems like back to the day you wanted to be a lawyer, why don't you take this bar exam? And he doesn't want to do it, because it's his laziness, and this will be his character arc, is that he will learn about responsibility, which will then give him the kick in the ass to finally go for further things in the upper echelon of life, career, relationships, all that jazz. And that comes in the point of one day this kid is left at his door, and apparently the father's Jon Stewart, but he's already gone away, and Adam sounds like, hey, listen, keep going, this meeting's important for you. Granted, this is a little bit more important, but I get what they're going with the story. I'll take him to child services in a few days. He hangs out with the kid for a few days, likes the kid, but also goes, maybe this is a way to save my relationship. That doesn't work out. The child services no longer have a family, so he'd be put into like an orphanage. Adam sounds like, you know what, listen, let me keep the kid until you get another family for him. And he hangs out with the kid. He gets to know the kid. He starts to relate to the kid. Now, I know there are people, there are critics that get mad at this film because about the irresponsibilities of what Adam Sandler does with the kid. Teaching him things that he should not be taught, that he's actually an awful character, he's a terrible character. I get what they're saying, but at the same time, number one, it's a comedy. It's meant for goofs. It's meant for fun. It's not meant to be taken that seriously. And number two, the whole point is that, yeah, he's teaching stuff that's irresponsible, but then eventually you learn that's the wrong thing to do, and then does things to rectify that. So he becomes Scooby Steve, or actually Scooby Steve's dad, and says, you need to clean yourself. Instead of throwing sticks and tripping people up, it's let's have signs to warn them, hey, slow down. So eventually you're teaching this kid to be better, as well as teaching himself to be a better person. So to me, it actually works out. And it's the, I don't know why I'm stuttering. I had like the damn fucking Tourette. Today, Junior Stutter. He's learning. That's the whole point. It's a goofy, silly comedy, and it works. I think it's fun. There's still a lot of laughs in this. And the cast works. Adam Sandler, you say he's doing the same shtick, but he did that shtick very well, especially in this time period, in his heyday. The soundtrack, a lot of hits that you'll remember. Comes at good sporadic moments that keeps the soundtrack bumpy and fun to listen to. The cast, Jon Stewart, I don't mind him as an actor. Not so sure as a not even talk show, however you want to call it. Not really big on. I'm not big on his political views, but I don't mind him as an actor. Nice to see Christy Swanson, beautiful lady. I don't hate the original Buffy movie, although I haven't seen it in forever. Like, I haven't seen that in a long ass time. Have to revisit that one day. But Joy Lauren Adams, she becomes the new girlfriend. Always liked her ever since she was in the Kevin Smith films, Chasing Amy. And I think she was supposed to star in Dogma, but the studio would not let Kevin Smith use her. I think Kevin Smith and Joy Lauren Adams was going out at the time, so that caused a little bit of friction. Just like, hey, you said I would get to do this. Well, we can't because the studio says so. Sadly, she didn't. I mean, she did work after this, but not in films that you'll really think of. I mean, she appeared Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back as a cameo, and the reboot one in a little cameo. But other movies, she didn't really appear a whole lot. In big films, that is. A lot of like little. She was in this one horror film that I barely remember. Animal or something about a monster that wasn't really that good. It's too bad because I thought she was a good actress, very beautiful actress, and just sad that she didn't get a lot of parts. I know she would get confused with Renee Zellweger a lot. But again, always liked Jory Lauren Adams. I thought she had a great sweet nature to her, and she worked well with Adam Sandler. Thought they had good chemistry. Yeah, you have your product placement, but here I could deal with. I thought it was manageable, especially the Hooter stuff, because that actually becomes part of the plot. Where I forget her. Is it Leslie Mann? I think it's the girl from the Cable Guy. The girl from the Cable Guy. I think it's her. She's with Jon Stewart, and she used to be at a Hooters. So Adam Sandler would give her crap. Hooters, Hooters, Hooters. Saying stuff like that. I thought that was funny. Rob Schneider, I actually did not think was that annoying in this. He plays the delivery guy. And that's usually what he's cast in these films. Not all the time, but a lot of times as a guy with some accent or ethnicity. Whether it be, now I'm pronouncing Chuck and Larry, where I think he's Asian in that, which I thought that was pretty awful. The movie and the performance. 51st Dates, I thought he was fine in that. Of course, the southern accent, you could do it, in The Waterboy. I thought that got overplayed. It was funny the first time, but just got overplayed. This, I thought, weirdly enough, he was a bit more subtle, and well, maybe not subtle, maybe that's not the right word, but he worked in this as delivery guy, and he had some funny moments. Like when he's talking to the kid, and talking about his cat, and the kid's like, what? And he's like, you call me a liar? That was a very fun delivery from Rob. Same with, there's this bit where Adam's teaching the kid how to say certain words, but then he's teaching the delivery guy technically easier words, but he can't say hippopotamus? You gave him the easy ones. Or teaching the kid about wrestling, and he gives Rob the sleeper hold, and the guy passes out. Adam Sandler's trying to wake him up. It worked well for this, Rob Schneider. He didn't overstay his welcome. He was used occasionally and didn't seem too offensive or anything. It worked out. I thought it was actually a fun side character. Other people, I forget his name, who's with Child Services. He's a bigger guy. I remember him because he was one of the two guys in City Slickers who was on the trail, and they ran the ice cream business. Talking about all these different flavors of ice cream in City Slickers. Because there was a thin guy and a fatter guy, and he was the more overweight guy. And yeah, I forget his name, but he's in this with Child Services. Which, I mean, he's not... I like that they don't portray him as a bad guy, because everything he's saying is true and is responsible. And again, I like that they don't... at least I don't think the movie portrays him as a bad guy, as they shouldn't, because he's saying the right things, and you can understand his point of view. And I thought the kid, a lot of times with these movies, they have two kids. They get twins because there's only a certain amount of hours a kid can work. So when he's done, they put the other kid in, and then they can work longer. So that's why a lot of times with movies, they try to find twins to be able to work on a film. Of course, they can't always do that. Haley Joel Osment, The Sixth Sense, there's no twins. But a lot of times that's why they try to find that. I thought the kid did fine. I don't know what he did after this. I don't know if he did other movies or he's like, nah, I'm done. But I thought him and Adam Sandler, that both the kids and Adam Sandler worked well together. The kid being shy at first, and Adam Sandler is like, so you have a diaper? No. You wipe your own ass? Yeah. You do? Good job. Just something about those interactions just worked for me. I think just because they're not being so zany and over the top in the delivery of the dialogue, so it works. And there have been things in this that I have taken and repeated in my life. When Adam Sandler, he's tripping people and or waiting for them. Actually, he's waiting for them to fall, and they don't. And Adam Sandler goes, "You suck, you suck, you suck." There have been times where I've played video games where I've said that. And a lot of fun little moments. The McDonald's breakfast, where he thought they stopped at 11, but they stopped at 10:30. It's horse shit. So the kids cry. He's like, "Will somebody get this kid a Happy Meal?" That's the sad thing is, Adam Sandler nowadays, if he does a comedy, there's nothing genuine about what he says. He doesn't really have any anger moments either in his comedies. Like this movie. Like Happy Gilmore. Which, I guess he's going to have to learn to get that back. Says he's doing Happy Gilmore 2. That is the thing being filmed. Probably don't come out 2026, I'm assuming. Unless it's late 2025, maybe. Maybe it's for the Christmas 2025. I don't know. But if he doesn't know how to tap that in, because he has not in a long time, then Happy Gilmore 2 is going to fucking fail. Well, it's going to make a lot of money because people are going to be curious. There's probably going to be nothing on, so they're going to watch it. It's going to get a lot of views, however the hell Netflix does it, and it'll be considered a success. Whether it be good, I have big doubts about it. But I did like Beverly Hills Cop 4, so I'm willing to be proven wrong. But yeah, anyway. But yeah, that's what I mean, like, the genuine anger moments that were funny. Again, it seems like he can't do that anymore. So he's going to have to... Because even like Pixels would have been a perfect opportunity to do that kind of stuff. And he just came off like a walking corpse in that movie. Pixels. That's what I mean is... Even when he's not yelling and screaming, he still had this kind of energy to him, which he doesn't nowadays. Maybe it's just being complacent. He has nothing to prove. He's rich as hell. From all intents and purposes, he seems like a very nice guy. If you watch interviews, he's very kind of quiet. Very, kind of like this, and hey, doesn't want to speak back. Sometimes in interviews, people want him to judge someone. He doesn't do that. He's like, he doesn't. Like on Joe Rogan, they tried to give him a comment on the Chris Rock, Will Smith, and he defends his buddy Chris Rock, which makes sense. They did a lot of movies together, but he doesn't trash it. He just seems like not that guy. Again, for all intents and purposes, he's a nice guy. He's got his family, and he doesn't really say anything political, and it just... Like I said, that's why I feel bad when I shit on some of his newer films, especially comedy, because I want him to be better. I want him to be good, because I liked a lot of his older stuff, but I hope Happy Gilmore 2 completely surprises me and everybody else. But if it doesn't, don't be surprised. Sorry, I know I'm going off tangent with it, but... It's just I'm watching films like that, I'm like, this is the good days of Adam Sandler. This is the fun days of Adam Sandler. Yeah, I like the bit when he goes to see Christy Swanson and she's with this older guy, and at first he thinks it's either her dad or something, but realizes it's her new boyfriend. And he's like, what? He's got a 5-year plan. What, don't die? I thought, again... A lot of moments in here that I thought was pretty funny. Did every joke work for me? No. Gives the kid a slingshot, and the next thing you know, he comes out and there's like 50 dead birds. I thought that was actually more creepy than anything, because that's how serial killers start, killing a shitload of animals. I know, I'm being uptight about it, but I just didn't find that shit funny. Granted, Adam Sandler was a bit horrified, and like, dimly sling, get back inside. So for Adam Sandler's character, like, that was wrong, but it just, the fact that the kid, I don't know. I'm looking too deep into it for a goofy comedy, but I didn't find that funny. I don't think that scene was needed. Same with, there's this bit where it's Halloween, and I think it's actually the director, which is, I think, Dennis Dugan. I think it's him that they go up to for trick-or-treating, and the guy's like, which, I mean, a lot of us is done because we don't celebrate Halloween or we don't have candy for trick-or-treating. And so he literally breaks into the place, forces him, gives him CDs. That's not enough. What else you got? You'll be prepared next year, Dick. Which I get the idea, and it's kind of funny, but at the same time, I mean, if you think about it for a second, I'm like, all this guy didn't do anything wrong. It's just he didn't celebrate Halloween like I don't, and you break into his house and you physically assault him. It's like, god damn, man, that's a bit much. But yeah, I'm not gonna harp on it because it's just meant to be silly. But it's like, I don't know. It was weird watching that today. And I thought the trial at the end was a bit hokey. Pretty much, he wants to adopt the kid. I do like they went with the route of all they have to do is just say what happened and the truth, and he doesn't get custody, as he shouldn't. But they make it seem like such a dire deal. But then lo and behold, yeah, Jon Stewart gets the kid. And that's another thing. Do you think Jon Stewart would have been a bit more in the film, considering it is his kid? I mean, if I was Jon Stewart's character, I know this means important, but I would try to find a way to get out of it quicker to come back to my foot. I mean, I don't know how much time is spent between Adam and the kid. Seems like more than a couple days. It feels like, hey, with all the time for them to find another family. Upset they're going, Jon Stewart's at work the whole time. Hey, I have a family emergency, which is a big fucking emergency, and I think your job would understand. Oh, this guy cares about his family. I don't know, man. So, I think it would have been nice to see a bit more Jon Stewart. But overall, it's a fun film. Spoilers for a film from 1999. Things work out. Jon Stewart talks with his kid. It's a year or so later. Adam Sandler has become a lawyer. He's with Jory Lauren Adams. They have a kid of their own. And they go to celebrate something at Hooters. And there's Chrissy Swanson and her old hubby working there. And maybe it's a 10-year plan. And again, that's what's hard about comedies. It's all subjective. And the simple fact, you either find them funny or you don't. I thought there was enough here that I thought was rather funny. Would this be in my top 5 Adam Sandler films? I don't know. Happy Gilmore is my favorite. I know that seems to be the typical answer for a lot of people, but it is. It's always been my favorite. I don't know. I mean, I like Airheads. I like Bulletproof. I don't think Bulletproof really... I think that's a bit underrated. I mean, I like Billy Madison. I don't know. If enough... definitely top 10. Top 5, I don't know. Because I do like The Wedding Singer. I have to think about that, but... This was fun to watch again. It was great to revisit this after it's been a while since I've seen it, and I think it still holds up. I think it's still an entertaining comedy. I still think that it makes sense why it was a big hit. You just go in and doesn't overstay its welcome. And again, the trial stuff we thought was a bit hokey, and I don't know if it needed that. But I guess they had to find some way to try to make some predicament at the end, some drama at the end. But I mean, either way, a fun film. Fun film that still holds up. So, with that said, we will talk to you guys later. Bye bye.